Amongst phone rings?
Is that a phone?
Who's that playing?
All right,
I
what
don't
about
Is it from the YouTube? Maybe.
Hello. Any luck?
Oh, it's not on my YouTube. So
No, that's on the phone.
Ken looking good and must.
Ah, yeah, there's audio.
There is?
That's your stream.
Oh, great. You can hear us now. Whew. Can you hear us now? Please let me know.
There'll be like a lag.
There's so much no audio.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm like pouring sweat now. Oh, that was traumatic. Well, I guess nobody heard what I said. I gave a great introduction.
That was a phenomenal introduction. Thank you. And thank you for coming to the Pants Show.
Yeah.
See y'all next time.
Yay!
Yeah, but you'd think all the 10 data scientists could figure out how to set up a live stream, but we couldn't until now. So thank you all for tuning in. Obviously, I don't live stream very often. I thought it would be a really incredible time to come in, introduce everyone, and have some fun. Maybe answer a couple questions and talk about some of the things that we're working on. So maybe we should all introduce ourselves really quickly. I would hope most people know who I am at this point. I'm gonna turn, okay. Others here, let's go from left to right.
Can you even see me? I don't even know.
Yeah, you can see
Oh,
this.
right there. Okay.
You can definitely see.
Yeah. I'm Luke Baruch. I have a YouTube channel on data analytics.
He also just did a badass workout.
Well, it's like 100 degrees outside, so it just looks like it was.
He was trying to, he's trying to make all my sweating look good.
No, he's just super nervous to be on the
Oh my god.
First time live stream, first time live!
What are we gonna do?
I'm gonna try and get Chet up here.
Sweet. My name is Jay Hawthorne. I run a channel called Code Emporium. Anybody? Floor?
Oh, okay, thanks. Hi, my name is Ben. I have a channel called the Seattle Data Guy.
I'm Hunter. I have a LinkedIn and do some Medium stuff. Sick.
I'm Mikiko. I'm on LinkedIn and enjoying a pecan pie.
Woo! Pecan pie. Pecan.
I'm Sean Kalanithi. I like pecan pie.
Okay.
I have a LinkedIn, but I'm more known for my YouTube.
There you go. I'm Avery Smith. I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn and other social medias, but mostly LinkedIn.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you all for coming out. We did a little sort of like YouTube content creator retreat this week.
White House.
Thank you.
By host.
Thank you, Keith, for the $2. He actually was invited, but he completely rejected me. So I know he's made. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome. I figure we might answer some questions, talk a little bit about what we're doing. Shashank, they want to know what you're eating.
Pecan pie.
From where?
Terry Black's. Anyone that comes for Texas barbecue, go to Terry Black's. It's amazing.
Also, shout out to Kadisha. She's awesome.
Oh, dude, Kadisha's the best.
She's super cool.
I think Keith wanted to be a moderator, so I just added you. Don't do anything too crazy, Keith.
Yeah, that's a risky biz right there.
Oh, welcome, Robert.
Where's Tina?
David, thank you. Oh, so Tina bailed on us this morning.
Boo.
We didn't realize her flight was gonna be so early. I also thought I booked this for 11 a.m. But
I mean, even
11
then,
a.m.
that would not have worked out. It's really just false advertising on Ken's part.
yeah, that was accidental. I thought she was gonna be here till tomorrow, like most of us. But we're gonna, yeah. I thought it was. I booked it for 11 a.m. Hawaii time, which is 4 p.m. your time. I'm still just completely baffled with time zones because I've been in Central, Eastern, Hawaiian, and soon to be Mountain. So still getting used to it. If anyone does have some questions in chat, aside from where is Tina, she is on an airplane right now. I can tell you that much. Probably somewhere over the middle of it. Oh, she probably landed.
Yeah,
maybe she'll tune in. We'll see.
Well, they want to know what's up with your mustache.
Yeah, what's up with the
Yeah.
mustache? Yeah,
Oh.
what's up with
The elephant in the room.
So this is a tribute to Alex the analyst because he could not make it here either. And he does a lot of these mustache things. Also, I'm pretty close to 200,000 subscribers. I might even hit it in the next day or two. And he does something fun like that. And I didn't want to copy him. I wanted to pay homage to that because he is a dear friend of mine. And the next one of these, I hope he'll be able to go. So yeah, Alex, if you're watching, if you're not watching, if you see this get clipped, this right here, that's for you.
Actual question for the chat though. I say homage. Obviously Ken does too. I've heard people say homage though. What do you guys think it's actually pronounced?
How are they gonna? They're just gonna spell the word.
Wait,
Okay.
option one.
Okay,
Is it
one is homage, two is homage,
Is it ho or is it
Is it ah or is it ho?
and then three is whatever Jay just said.
or ho?
We already comments.
Yes, we are. We are. Are we coming outside the U.S.? Ibrahim, I will be outside of the U.S. for some data science stuff. In September, I'll be going to Spain. So if you want to hop over, I'll be at the Kaggle Days World Championships. I would love to do an overseas, like, content creator retreat / meetup. I think that would be really fun. Maybe in like Thailand or something, we could see Data Professor and some other people. It's a little bit harder to travel now than I think it will be hopefully in the near future. So, what was 2 and what was 1 again?
Our cryptography.
I think
Two
two.
was homage. First was homage.
Okay, so it's two.
I thought it was the other way. I thought it was the other way. I thought two was with an H.
Oh.
No,
I thought
I
two-
say it right. It's fine.
Wait, does anyone know what the
Same,
options were?
slight data correction.
We lost our key value pairs. Does anyone know what they
A
were?
bunch of data scientists can't figure out how to collect the data. We'll analyze the heck out of it, though. Someone asked a little bit about, what was that? A master's in data science in Florida. I personally think that if you have freedom over your courses, look to take courses that you think would be useful to the jobs that you're applying to. To me, a lot of people just go through and coast through master's programs and just think it's gonna go well. It's very different. You just have to, like, you learn based on the effort you put in, and you also only get out of it the effort that you put in. So if you're doing internships, if you're really on top of it, awesome. If not, I don't think it's necessarily worth it. So definitely go in with a lot of focus if you can.
How many? You have a master's degree.
Yeah.
You have a master's degree.
I
You
have
have a
two.
master's degree. You
I
have
have
two.
two.
You have
Kenneth's
two.
is
You have
zero.
two. I have one. You have one.
0.
Wait, I thought you said you.
I'm a bachelor's.
Oh, and Kenneth.
Hey.
Yeah, but I also have $150,000 in student debt.
Yeah.
Why do you think I have to make all these videos? Keith is single-handedly paying off my student loan.
Thanks, Keith.
$2 at a time.
Hey, work with what you got, right?
Yeah. So
Avery,
there's-
they're asking for a Python joke.
Yeah, what was the Python joke again? I said?
Oh, I said I had a Python joke, but I don't think this is the right environment either. So
Is there a right environment for that show?
I don't know. I'm still trying to find the right
I think
environment.
you're missing the.
Well, we're getting-
maybe not. The environment is part of the joke. We need a new explanation of Avery's jokes.
Yeah, it wasn't that funny, but that's what I posted on LinkedIn.
I'm feeling better about my 0 degrees and 0 debt now. Gotta say.
Good for you.
Wait, way to rub it in people's face.
Wait,
But
Mickey.
that's okay. It's because grad school said they didn't want a 2.6 GPA person. So,
Wait, Mickey, wait. So you have a bachelor's, right?
yeah.
Oh, so you have a degree. You
I have
can't
a
say
degree.
we can't say we don't have degrees. We have degrees.
Oh, I thought you were saying masters.
They did ask masters, but
No, you said no degrees. We do have degrees, just not great
I
ones.
have 0 masters or
Okay.
anything degrees.
So Farhan's asking, what are our priorities for the foreseeable future and what's on our minds? I think that's a pretty pressing one that we talked quite a bit about while we were here. Just the future of either our content and our work. Avery, you wanna touch a little bit on that?
yeah, what's in my future? Well, I think this year I've been really obsessing over data science projects and portfolios. So I'm just thinking about how to do more of those. I love data science projects. I love making portfolios. I love helping people with that. And so I've just been thinking about how can I make as many projects as I possibly can this year and make them as entertaining as possible. So that's what I'm focused on this year.
That's good.
Yeah.
Keith, thank you for continuing to help out with my stuff.
Keith is single-handedly paying down his student loan debt.
Yeah.
I need it.
I feel like we're on one of those like fundraiser calls where it's like, we just got another donation.
It's all Keith. Just
Or like,
I don't need any help.
The,
I don't need any donations. I
There's
do
that
okay.
K-pop group where they all like the amount of debt that they have is like part of the band's name, and then like they pay down their debt by doing K-pop basically. It's a really interesting.
Wild.
Yeah. Premise.
If people are interested, I'll try and keep it short because you can hear me talk about this all the time. But I'm really focusing on the podcast. I have another course I'm making coming out in a couple months here, so that's why I haven't been making too many videos. But through this trip, I've made some really awesome content, mainly with Luke and Tina, and we'll be recording quite a bit of other content with some of these other people here. So I'm really excited for that next push of either YouTube or podcast or whatever it may be. I actually have my 100th podcast episode coming out in 2 weeks.
Congrats.
So that'll be
Who is
very
it?
exciting. It's my dad.
Oh, wow.
I took a page out of Lex Friedman's book, and it was very emotional. It was wild. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Like, will I cry?
I don't know.
Will I?
Well, it's one of these things where like, how often do people sit down? How often you had like an hour-long conversation with one of your parents or someone in your family and just asked about their life and like talking about their specific experiences?
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, or at least most Asian families, they're like talking about what you should be doing.
Right.
Like, have you done this? Have you done this? Like, and I was able to turn it the other direction and ask why they made certain decisions and whatever it might be. So I found it very meaningful. So John, what's next on your priority list?
So anyone that watches my live streams will know that for me, the last couple of years have been heavily prioritized on setting up a great financial base for myself. Because I graduated with a bunch of student loan debt, I wanted to eliminate that, did that, built up some assets. But in that process, I felt like I lost parts of myself because I was very like focused on the idea of this like financial like excellence at the cost of like hobbies and like hanging out with friends and stuff like that. So I think in a bit of a dramatic way, reintegrating myself into society in many ways is kind of one of the big priorities for the summer. Because I came to Seattle in the winter and it's just difficult to do it then, honestly. So I'm hoping that in the summer that's going to be one thing. Taking the YouTube channel to the next level. And
He's close to 100,000 subscribers.
we're almost there. We're almost there.
Yeah,
So
nice.
when it happens, I will be throwing a party at my apartment and I will live stream part of it. So be sure to watch that, guys.
That's awesome.
It's gonna be fun. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of chugging. And then probably a third thing is make a major career step forward. Anyone that follows my live stream knows that I'm in the process of trying to become a data scientist at my company. So those are the three things I'm trying to focus on.
Nice. Very cool.
Eloquent.
Thank you.
So is it eloquent or is it eloquent? Option one or two. Option one or two.
Wait.
I'm pretty sure it's eloquent.
We have to log which option corresponds with which things. So we don't
Yes,
have
someone
a
spin up a
repeat
Python dictionary.
homage.
Alright, someone go next.
Cool. All right. Hello. Hi. Code Emporium here. So things. Wait, what was the question? Wait.
That's
What are your
What are your
plans?
priorities?
Oh,
priorities?
shoot.
Yeah.
Priorities for the future. All right. So, well, that's a great question. So I make very technical content on YouTube, and I'm trying to figure out new ways and new ideas of how to deliver that technical content, because YouTube, I feel like, is very edutainment-y-ish. And, well, when you look at somebody explaining some really technical concepts, it's like, all right, cool, I saw 2 minutes, I'm bored, bye-bye, and there goes my views. And I get very sad and I cry, and so I'm trying to
We've seen him cry multiple times.
I have. It's so sad. But I try my best. I try to deliver content that everybody loves, and sometimes I fail. Most of the time I do. But I'm trying to get better at delivering content in general, and also even diversifying beyond YouTube too. I've had some fun ideas talking to everybody here in the house that we call the Bite House. Whoop whoop. Bite with a Y.
Yeah,
With
it's not
a
like
Y.
butt house. So you said.
Wait, what do we call it?
The Bite House.
There we
What does
go.
that stand for?
It's just the
Like
Bite
a
House. I don't know what to
bite
tell
of
you.
data. Like
Oh.
Someone's
Oh,
now
you
been
know
faxing their
what?
data
It's
structures
in
and algorithms.
I haven't. I've been too
It's
busy.
a computer
It's
nerdy
systems,
joke.
right?
Is it?
It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, you work in bytes and it's like.
I like it.
I
My
guess
house.
Dick
Good
flipping is a DSNA thing.
Yeah, so fun.
All right. Oh, Luke, you're next.
I'm next.
Also, wait, hold on. Before Luke goes, I just want to say, did you
I'm gonna let you
plant?
finish, but
Well, Luke is the greatest of all time. Someone's in here saying, why is Luke here? Did you plant that bot?
I didn't. I was actually.
That's his alternate account.
Yeah.
No, he did it really well because someone called him out.
Yeah, they're like, everybody's data scientist. Why is Luke here?
Hey,
I'm not a data scientist.
we have
I'm not
data
a-
analysts, machine learning engineers, data engineers. We've got
Data analyst.
everyone.
We are all
Heads of data science.
We are data.
Anyways, I just wanted to say, Luke's a good guy, everyone.
Even though he's a data analyst.
Even though he's
He's a Southern gentleman.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I guess priority for me next year is, or this year, if you will, is just focusing on YouTube and sort of a page out of, Mr. Beast's book of how he tries to make the best videos possible. That's all I just want to focus on this year and delivering quality content. So it's sort of cheesy, but that's my goal.
And his best video ever is coming out probably next week because it has me in it.
It's pretty
Maybe
good.
biased.
Oh, you guys have been missing the bromance between these two
Yes.
in the Bite House.
It's been very hot.
Tina said, quote, I feel like I'm third wheeling.
All right, Ben, you're up.
Yeah, I guess for me, really, obviously left Facebook like 5 months ago at this point, so really focusing on consulting, trying to kind of grow that, figure out how to scale that part of my life, because right now I'm just doing all of it myself, so trying to figure out like how do I scale that, and then more on the content side, I'm trying to figure out like what content is both like, again, kind of that entertaining enough from like a data engineering aspect or a data engineering perspective, but also still like very useful for everyone who's watching it, who's trying to learn more about data engineering, trying to break that barrier, since again, there's not a lot, I feel like, for people coming out of college, like it's kind of maybe not even a very discussed field, so trying to figure out how to make it more approachable for everyone. That's kind of my goal.
I will say, I've been talking to him about his consulting stuff, right? And any of the advice I give you, completely ignore that and just go to his channel and ask him. Because this man is charging multiple times the rate I was, and he's like, Shashank, you obviously charge this much, right? And I'm like, no, not even close. So, real talk, you'll have significantly better advice than I will about consulting.
You all charge?
You're all getting charged. You get paid.
Doing this for free.
So for me, basically just finished up my master's in cybersecurity, so I have a lot more free time to be working on creating stuff. So that's my near-term goals are create a lot more stuff than I have been in like the last couple months. So
Yeah.
Hey there, I'm Nikki. For the person who's asking, no, I'm not Tina. Not all Asian women look the same. We have this chat. We know who
What are you
are.
talking about, Tina?
What are you talking about, Shashank?
As someone did say Jay instead of Shashank to me at one point in time in this house, I just forgot who it was.
I swear, if
I think it was Tina.
If I put
You're
Shashank's
probably-
glasses on,
It was almost-
nobody would know.
exposed.
It's almost definitely Tina.
So I think my goal is, I was very honestly inspired by everyone here. So, and the question that I've kind of struggled with as an MLOps engineer is, it's like, how do you, once you have a data science project or a model, like how do you deploy it? How do you make it useful? How do you get in front of people? So that's the part, the engineering aspects I'm very, very interested in. So that's probably what I'm going to be focusing content-wise. I did a lot of like speaking and workshops and writing, and to be honest, I'm a little bit over that, as well as like over the how to break into data science. So sorry, but that's my goal, is to focus more on like the MLOps. How do you deploy models and pipelines? And how do you do it, like if you're a startup or if you're like a new person and you want to use something other than Kubernetes. So let's see if we can figure that one out.
Wait, that's illegal. Kubernetes is love.
There are tools out there you can use that aren't just Kubernetes. So yeah.
MLOps is picking up traction, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, Paolo asked what are our backgrounds. To save some time, so Paolo, every single person here has been on the Kensington Neighbors podcast. You can get a sort of in-depth into all of their backgrounds there if interested. I think I've also linked everyone in the description. If anyone wants links to each individual YouTube channel, possibly LinkedIn, I have full names in the description. And then Keith is asking, assuming we are going to the bars tonight, who's going to have the best dance moves?
Wait, we're going to the bar?
Oh,
And
100%.
then Mickey.
Oh yeah.
Are we actually going like line dancing at a country bar?
We could,
That would be
I'm
me,
not
my
opposed to it.
friend.
How about boots?
Yes.
How about boots?
I will do all the dances.
Oh yeah, they've been dancing nonstop as some weird form of exercise. It's very impressive.
We gotta match Luke's, goals. We gotta match the physical goals,
Yeah.
We can get a sweat on.
especially justify all the barbecue we've been eating.
True.
Yeah.
And cookies.
Peach cobbler.
Yeah. Pecan pie.
Pecan.
Hey, oatmeal, huh?
All right, is it pecan or pecan?
Pecan.
I think it's pecan.
I think it's pecan too, but.
Okay. Anyone see any interesting questions that we want to take? We
I'm here for
probably
Tina and Tina
can't-
only.
Oh, dang.
It's gonna be a rough.
Sorry!
Hey, get out of her way, come
I
on.
know.
Where's Tina?
Ken, stop blocking Tina.
Yeah.
Look at this. Yeah.
Let's see.
My big old head.
Ask more questions.
No, someone asked you
there's a lot of
about,
questions.
do you want to go back to the oil and gas industry?
No, I
And
don't.
How is data science in those industries? That's also what they asked.
Oil and gas is very cyclical, and also it's it's also kind of dinosaurs, and I like working more for myself, and I also like just more. I don't like they made me wear a button-up shirt, and I didn't like it very much, and I just don't want to go back. But it was a good time, and I'm actually doing some consulting, so I'll do some consulting in oil and gas. And I'm glad that they're not laying off people like they were last year and during COVID and stuff. So happy for oil and gas, but not going back, probably.
So if we don't get your question, just leave it in the actual comment section, and at least I'll go back through and answer them all. I would imagine some of us here will also go back through. That could be a fun bonding activity this evening. Something I thought was kind of interesting, since a couple of us do have master's degrees, someone asked if we would go back and do them again if we had our druthers, if we could change now. You want to start with that one, Luke?
Yeah. So I have a master's. I'm a data analyst, and I don't think a master's is necessary really at all, especially for data analysts. Especially I went to school for business. I mainly went to get my master's because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. So that was just my way of like exploring and learning more and buying time. But if you know you're interested or you have a passion about something, I wouldn't recommend a master's and going into debt unless you have a great way to pay for it. I'd recommend just going and pursuing the passion instead.
Wait, swap them. I'm gonna go. If I sit over here and you sit over there, then they can see Mickey. Someone mentioned that.
Right, and once again,
'Cause I'm
I
a
am
big
not
old
Tina.
head. I'm a big old
Tina
head.
was here in the house, but she had to go back home
Should we make
early.
it
I am
tag?
I am not.
That is how.
Not
That
Tina.
is how logic works.
Yeah, I want to put my feet up, but I don't want to get my feet in the camera.
Yeah. Crocs.
Yeah.
Who else? I do. I guess I could go. I have two. The first one I got partially paid for by the company I worked for at the time, AT&T. So that was a nice financial decision of get someone else to help pay for it. I think if I was to go back, I probably. It's hard to exactly say. Like if you're in that same position, I think just looking at the structure one of those programs can provide can be nice if you don't have kind of, I guess, the knowledge in and of yourself of what to study in what order and all that. But yeah, I'd say masters can be helpful. They can be good motivators because you're paying a lot of money, therefore you're going to commit to studying stuff. But it is a lot of money, therefore sometimes there's more efficient ways of doing stuff.
Yeah, I guess I'm the last one.
Me too.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
we don't
Oh,
know
you
our
get Georgia Tech. I forgot.
Yeah.
Oh, and someone
And
specifically.
someone literally just said.
Yeah, but
Georgia
MS
Tech. Go. I want to
Analytics.
hear yours. I want to hear yours. You have two.
Two. Yeah, so my first one was business related, so it wasn't really data science-y, and I think at the time it made a lot of sense because I wanted to go into consulting. The second one, the Masters in Computer Science, again, this was a while ago, and there just weren't that many clear resources available to become a data scientist, right? So if I had to go back to that time period, I probably would still do it. Again, I'm in a lot of debt, but I learned a lot, and there was like a clear path for me. Now, there's so many other resources available that are cheaper and probably higher quality, I don't think it makes any sense to. I mean, at least when I was applying, there weren't that many places that were like, oh, you have a master's degree, like, here's a job, right? That's not how it works. And so you have to like go through the process. Maybe I got slightly more interviews because of it, but I don't think I would trade the financial cash outlay for slightly more interviews if I had to do it currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat. I graduated last year, and I went to Georgia Tech. I did their online Masters of Analytics. It ends up being like I don't know, like $13,000. So not that. I mean, still a big financial investment, but not huge necessarily. And Exxon paid for like 4,000 of that until I quit, basically. And it was good. I have a review video on my channel. There's definitely goods and bads. But I think you definitely don't need it. If you have a killer portfolio and a good social media presence, like Kadisha's watching. Kadisha's on her way. She's making a big name for herself, I think. And, she's just doing cool stuff and posting about it online. I think that's the new way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as a person who's also done like a master's in data science, I feel like if you know what you're doing and you know what you want to do getting into it, it's really easy to kind of focus on things because you only have 2 years when you do your actual master's program. And I will say that it has like allowed me to get into the intricacies that is a lot of like data science and even get into aspects of machine learning that I'm not sure I probably would have done maybe like out of curiosity on my day job, but it really did help, set my foundations and make it like super concrete without like focusing too much on anything else at the time. So maybe back in time, if I was like 22, I still had the mindset of, okay, I know what I want to do. I know I want to get into like some form of research domain in the data science field, then yes, I'd probably do my master's again, despite the fact that my master's cost 6 figures.
Jesus. Where do you get it from?
USC.
Yeah,
okay,
it's right
okay.
there.
Yeah.
That's always like when you Google like top data science masters. It's always
Is it USC?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I think so.
This
I'd
man's
say
smart.
Georgia Tech has to be up there just with the cost versus the.
It's a good bang for your buck.
Oh,
it has a
they're-
good brand name and
Good brand name. They don't like just pass anyone, so it has good reputation.
They pass
UT,
it.
well, UT is $10,000, and it's UT's comp sci program.
Yeah, so I think
Solid.
there's other good options, but yeah, if you're spending more than 10,000,
Yeah.
or like more than 15, I would say you have to like really be able to justify why it's worth that much more.
I will also
Just, like,
say,
the whole thing.
like one thing
that's good when you ask that question.
Yeah, the data science masters can be like quite
That's what I was thinking. We said $10,000 to $15,000
for the whole thing. That's Georgia
Yeah.
Tech.
Mine-
That's,
mine was
I
like
guess,
13.
UT. Yeah.
I would also say one thing that because I ask a lot of people about the master's thing because I'm deciding if I want to go do mine or not. The group over here is a bit self-selecting as far as the amount of like how hard they hustle, to be honest. Put 2 and 2 together. I'm sure you could figure that was true. So I would say like probably a benefit of a master's is that if you very much see your career as like, I go to my job, I do my job, I do well, and I come home and I do other stuff, right? Like that's one aspect of my life, right? I could see a master's helping you get past get higher up in application pools much faster, and being useful in that sense. So I would also say whenever you ask anyone for advice, including us, think about what biases that group has as a result of their life experiences. Basically, everyone here has a W-2 and does, or a 1099 and does a YouTube on the side. Or you're something else.
LLC, whatever you want.
Yeah,
Something like that. Basically, not a W-2. But everyone here is working like 2 jobs, so it's a self-selecting group of like very hard workers. Which
If I could, I would love to do a master's in computer science engineering, but like literally no school in the country will take me, which is really sad.
But also, why would you need to? Just to learn more?
Yeah.
Like you're
I just-
killing it.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like there's some topics where it is a little bit hard to learn on your own, and I feel like the learning isn't just like reading from a book, because like you just buy the book, right, or watch videos. but it's getting that like critical coaching feedback. So like when you do something, like so for example, if you're training in the gym, right? Like you can lift the weight, you can watch the video, you can try to spot yourself in the mirror, but sometimes there's things that like a professional trainer will spot, like oh your like back is bowing out when you're going down in your squat, right? And it'll save you injury and like time in the future.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel like having a degree is really important, is if you get that teacher like TA FaceTime.
I would not do an online master's in that case because I got none of that. Like my stuff, that's why they can probably do it for under $15,000. It's like I never talked
virtual
to
office hours, no?
with a TA, but they weren't that great. I never talked to one of my professors ever.
It's interesting because I did an online boot camp and I feel like I did get that like.
I think they're better at the more personal stuff.
I got that feedback.
Yeah.
So.
And I like in person's probably better that way too. I'm guessing. Did you do in person?
I did in person. Yeah, I actually graduated before all of the frenzy of the
Okay.
apocalypse happened.
Hopefully paying
essentially.
6 figures you did it in person.
Well, this is 6 figures including, I included everything, living
Ah, okay.
expenses, yeah, of course, 6 figures just for a master's. No, I did not.
Those
pay
do
that
exist,
much.
though.
They do exist, but I am not one of those dudes who paid that much for that to do. Yes, you got it, they got it. I got it, I got myself. That's important. I think that's the most important thing here. Okay, got it.
Great answer.
Thank you.
You too should wear a turtleneck if you want that Steve Jobs confidence.
Do you like me? Do I look like Steve Jobs? I was posing earlier today. I
mean, not like
this is
exactly
Apple, this is
like
not
him.
right. So I was kind of just like this and just smiling at the camera for one of Shashank's
Hair's
videos,
also
and I was
different.
like,
And just the hand on the chin too.
Wow.
no, it's serious. Right? So model face. Right?
Fitting image.
Question: has anyone here done a DSNA interview?
But
Like done a
Da-
data science and data structure algorithms interview?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a question. Did cracking the coding interview help you with that? If you read it.
I mean, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's not
You
bad.
gotta enunciate pretty good.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yes. sorry.
No, I'm
sorry.
not
Treating
asking,
like, no,
yeah.
no, I get it. Yeah, no, yeah, no, sorry. Just
Okay. It's only useful for DSNA interviews as far as I'm aware, data structures and algorithms.
Yeah.
And Ben says he liked it. So, and Mickey, I didn't hear you.
So cracking the code, it's a good book. It does really great explanations. If you're like a Python programmer, cracking the code is in C++, Java, so it might not be like the best if you're for studying Python specifically. But for me personally, I did the Python programming interview was a really good one because it's still data structures and algorithms, but it's with Python, and there are certain things that are language specific to it, so they're very useful. But I thought cracking the code interview was good, but I think it would be even better if you Google search and try to find the YouTube series by the same author.
Oh yes.
That's even better.
I think there's that, and I think what's nice now is like, you know, whenever anyone asks like what you should study for interviews, it's always hard to, like, let's say for like data engineering, it's hard to answer because it's like, well, if you go to Netflix, this is what they're gonna ask. If they go to Facebook, this is what they're gonna ask. If you go to whatever, this is what they're gonna ask. And what's great, I think, you know, is like you can find people who have done that and have resources like this is exactly what you should study for this specific company.
Lead Code Premium.
Yeah.
Spend the $35 or $100 something, and yeah, they break it down by company frequency last 6 months. And I was watching a mock interview on a meta engineer, and they were basically saying, yeah, like our questions all appear there in like a couple of weeks. So
It's actually really bad.
Yeah.
Like I could literally go on Glassdoor and be like, oh, there are the exact questions that I ask
Yeah.
every time. Well,
there's an entire economy that's sprouted up around getting into FANG. I got thoughts on that, but not for today. Not for now.
Some hot takes incoming.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, why not? Well, we got Forrest Knight in the stream as well, wishing he could come here, but he has a small child, so understandable.
And
Those two need to be, I've heard those two need to be watered and fed quite a bit, so
Yeah.
understandable.
Forrest Knight with his child, Tina with her 2 cats.
Oh, could
Oh.
you-
Alex with his child.
These people with these dependents.
Actually, Ken did eat the whole pie last night. Like,
I literally did. I was sitting here on the couch with it on my stomach.
yeah, he was like lying down. We got some great angles of Ken for a video I'm putting out later. So, yeah, be ready.
Some Kenji blackmail.
In Crocs.
No, that's incredible. Ibrahim wants to know if we're planning a giant collab. If we had planned better, probably.
It's like we're literally.
But there's going to be a lot of
We'll do
remnants
it
I think a lot of
again.
mini collabs are going to be
Yeah.
happening during the next over the next few months.
There was someone earlier that said they wanted all of us to do a data viz challenge.
Ooh.
I think that'd be fun.
That'd be fun, yeah.
To do like an hour.
So Nick Wan, who was here earlier, he has a thing on his Twitch stream called VizBuzz, and in that they show a data visualization, and then everyone who's participating has to try and remake the visualization, and you get judged based on if it actually, like there's a machine learning model he uses to classify how close it is, but also there's like style points and methodology and stuff like that. So
Very cool.
that could be a fun format, although I've done very little data viz recently, so.
So you're gonna lose.
I mean, I'm like obsessively competitive, so I'd probably just study a lot if I had some time.
We're gonna start right after this is done.
Absolutely not.
That's my next YouTube video. I crush Kenji in a data viz
There
competition.
you go. There you go.
It's a thumbnail of you going like this.
Yeah.
Kenji exposed.
Fake.
Everyone in the chat, if anyone else asks, like, if anyone comes in and asks where Tina is, just gaslight the person and say she's like way in the back over there. You just can't see her.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's
Yeah,
what we're
she's
doing
here.
now.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Hey.
No,
No, she's just hiding.
Yeah.
she's like way in the back.
Although Tina in real life just hides from everything.
That's
she's
true.
like, I love her to death, but she is terrified of everything, and it's incredible.
Incredible. Incredible.
F1 is bomb. I will be coming out with a series of videos on F1 later.
So if you didn't know about Chunk, he loves cars, and he also loves history.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And
And
data.
he loves the history of cars, and I think our stream froze. Oh, no, we're good. We just glitched a little bit. We're good.
Yeah, it keeps
Yeah.
on skipping frame rates for some reason. Press that yellow banner.
Oh, no.
Maybe it's all of us.
Watching it at the same
Watching
time.
Watching it at the same time.
Alright,
No,
I'll
it
turn.
can't be that.
I'll turn off my light.
Any alternatives for lead code? No. Lead code is the best.
Whoa!
I think so. No, quite honestly, for data structures and algorithms to do, why else would you use anything else?
I mean, there
I
are.
mean,
Well, I mean,
there's
sure.
Strata Scratch,
Yeah.
there's Interview Query, there's a bunch of good,
Yeah.
like more data specific
Yeah.
interview approaches.
Strata Scratch is great for data science. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
What's the one that Clement does?
Algo expert.
I don't know anything about theirs.
That's it.
Okay. Next topic.
Who is the richest one?
That's definitely not me. You guys talk about all my student loan debt.
Didn't you just say you had $1 zillion?
In student loan debt.
It's okay.
Wait, so are we not going to answer this elephant in the room? Like, who is the richest one here?
I think it's probably a J. He's the richest in spirit.
There you go. There you go.
He also has the turtleneck, so
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
already
sign
set
of
apart.
a well
With
off.
skulls.
If this actually has skulls on it, I would come closer, but it would be very creepy.
Are they diamond skulls?
You look
Uh,
like
you can imagine they're diamond skulls if that makes you feel better.
Well,
Or do you know how in Nickelodeon shows they had like the PearPod instead of Apple devices?
Yeah.
You look like the CEO of that company.
Oh my goodness. Please tell me that's a compliment, right?
Absolutely.
yeah.
Thank you.
Oh,
I'll take it.
Like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
CEO of a fictional $1 billion multi.
I'll take it. The CEO of anything. Oh my goodness. I'm blushing.
Right.
Where's Tina?
That's not a random question. You do not need an extra degree to work in MLOps. Like MLOps, the entire premise of the role is you have a data science model, and how do you then get it out into the world? Not like as a Streamlit app, but either in like a website, a mobile app, a web app, you name it. So you can think of it as like DevOps plus an understanding of the intricacies of like ML. So, and the advice for really any engineering degree is you don't need a master's. It's really like building stuff, because at the end of the day, that's what engineering is you have to build something, you have to make sure it's tested, ship it, make sure people can interact with it, ideally make sure that it's secure and can't get hacked, but honestly, a lot of people are not good with that, right, Hunter?
Yeah, I would say there's a lot of cyber holes in data science and ML, but I think there's good tools out there that are kind of third-party things you can add in front or behind or around your models, and that I think will be something that more and more people like start caring about as it becomes kind of more front of mind for people. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely get something working, get it stable in terms of ML ops, and then have like the proper logging and all that sort of stuff. But in terms of security, it's for most people kind of back in mind.
Yeah, I think like for the most part too, like when you start actually working, you'll kind of see issues that crop up, either like things or maybe small holes in your knowledge that is in the entire data science or machine learning pipeline. And I think with your also knowledge in some like actual coding, you'll kind of see like the actual use of ML ops and even more respected / also want to be a part of that community too. And it's really interesting because even despite like having a data science degree in a master's degree, I still learn a lot more, definitely a lot more about ML ops outside in the industry than I did actually in school in that area.
Yeah.
Sweet. I think Ibrahim challenged me to a cooking competition.
We need Ben in there too.
You're on. Ben's probably has the most advanced knowledge of the culinary arts.
Cooking with Ken.
Cooking with Ken and Ben.
Ken and Ben.
We're into that.
There's that question, does everyone here have a full-time job?
Oh, does everybody? Oh, yeah. Who here has a full-time job? Oh wait.
Sort of.
Oh wait. So who?
Sean, raise your hand.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Yes.
He's like,
Ben and me.
So who's a full-time content creator or consultant? Raise your hands.
Well, no, consultant is a full-time job.
Consultant.
Yeah, can you be somewhere in between?
It's a full-time job.
Yeah, I'm like a.
The hours this man's working, freaking coming here. We were all partying, and this guy was like just like working with
Grinding.
clients. He was grinding. He's like the grind set never sleeps.
Gosh,
You guys burn money, I make money. He was just saying that the entire time. You know, he was just like muttering it under his breath.
Under his breath. Yeah. And then you could hear him like looking in the mirror in the bathroom, just talking to himself up.
Money, 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 money,
No. You gotta think Attack on Titan style, alright? Aaron's staring in the mirror. That might be missed by most people.
I only read it. I don't watch it.
It's okay. Fine.
Ooh.
No.
Does anyone here have a financial background, like Wall Street finance?
I read Wall Street
Tina
Journal.
would have.
Okay, so
I own
Wall
Tesla
Street-
stock. How about that?
Yeah, aren't you from Hawaii, the literal furthest part of America from Wall Street?
Probably.
Wow.
What does proximity have to do with it? I'm not Citadel. I'm not trying to like high frequency trade. This is not financial advice.
How much
Yeah.
money did everyone lose in the last series?
We didn't lose money.
We don't talk about
Yeah,
that.
it's not a loss unless I cash out.
Didn't
It's not a loss until I cash out.
Have you heard of bankruptcy? Companies can do that. You can go to zero.
Don't make me cry.
Oh, they love Ben's grind.
Yeah. Ben
Nice.
is the ultimate grind.
Yeah.
Oh, Gogor. It is coffee and water, and I would have tea with me if there wasn't any. So, anyone that knows me knows that I just like love drinking liquids.
Oh yeah.
I just really like liquid.
I love liquids.
Do you like drinking solids? I mean, what's the other option?
Well, no, the other option is to not drink liquids, which is what many people do. You know, they're just sitting there. Look at all you guys. None of you are drinking liquids. Look at this.
No,
True.
we
Right?
were thinking
I
of going out
crushed
with
my
the blue.
liquid.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Thank you.
I am liquid.
I am 90% liquid. That is true.
Wow.
I'm like water.
The Big Short is a great movie. Margin Call, an underrated movie, but similar to The Big Short.
I like also by Michael Lewis. Flash Boys was a very
Ooh.
interesting book.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
He has a new podcast, or not a new podcast,
Oh,
a
is it a
podcast.
podcast?
He has,
I would
it's
listen.
amazing.
I would listen to that.
There's that, and there's another podcast y'all should listen to where he talks about how he got into like the Big Short type of books, and a lot of it has like he explains how in the 1980s Wall Street was very different, and like this idea of someone leaving Wall Street and writing a book like was not vetted by literally everyone. So he said it was a different world over there, and that's how he was able to do it.
All right, I like this question. In what ways is data science overrated?
Ooh.
Does anyone want to start, or I can kick it off?
I think I could take a crack at that. I
Hit
think
me,
most
Hunter.
businesses will look at data science as a solve all my problems and kind of like a stopgap for doing actual good engineering and fixing issues. So I think you can run into use cases where it can be overrated in that way. Sometimes there's a simple, and you know, this is more, let's say, maybe on the machine learning side of data science, but like a simple solution that you can write better code or fix flaws and not have to have a model sit behind stuff as your main line of defense or your main way of handling things. But yeah, that I would say is kind of one area definitely where not everything has to be a model.
That's true. Not everything has to be a model. Oh, that's so good.
Romance.
Wow.
Do you want some kimchi?
Do you want to feed him on? What? Feed him on.
Come over here.
Play.
We don't.
Open wide. It's coming in the land.
Thank you.
I think one aspect of data science it's overrated is the idea that it's like a consistent and stable career. Right? I think in some sense, yes, it's a good job. You're going to be employable for forever, but at every company, it's very different, and the expectations are still very big. So to me, it's like overrated in the sense that what you get when you come in isn't exactly what you're going to expect, and you might have to change your role, you might have to change companies, you might have to move around before you really settle in and find something that you super enjoy doing. So I think that to me is something outside looking in, a lot of people don't realize.
I think another thing is just coding in general can be really frustrating. Like, I know it's not part of all of data science, right, or analytics, but like one thing that's interesting when I'm talking to my wife is a nurse, and it's like she does not understand what it's like to be stuck on a bug for like 5 hours.
Oh God.
And like that's like a weird concept where you can
She's been stuck on a bug for the last 2 years.
Yeah, she's like 5 hours. What?
No.
COVID.
COVID.
Oh, sorry, I'm a little slow, I guess. But yeah. Anyways, so that's one thing. Like she like it's like she can just do her work day, right, and it just happens. But it's like I could spend the whole day trying to solve one bug, and I don't get anywhere. Weird concept.
I would say data science and analytics in general. It's important for people to understand, even though data analysts and data scientists don't get paid very well, and the profession is very desirable and everything, is not a necessary job. And the reason that's important, right, is because a corporation cannot run without like software engineers like designing basic code to maintain systems. Like they're a basic necessity in like organizations. And obviously, once you reach some scale, you have like machine learning models and stuff in production, but a lot of companies don't, quite honestly. And I think because of that, the reason I say that, the reason that's important to understand is because it means that as a data scientist, you need to, or anyone working in analytics, quite honestly, you need to be making the case for yourself and for your company as to why you are important and necessary for that company. When they hired you, what value are you bringing them? Can you find some way to quantify that value, put it on an Excel spreadsheet? And that's just good advice for basically anyone. But I think for a data scientist and a data analyst, it's particularly good, advice, because in my experience, I've had a harder time putting together those spreadsheets than say someone like my brother who is a software engineer, where like the value to the company of his job is like very straightforward. The system needs to be built, it got built, done. And so I think like that's something I try and like tell everyone. As you're doing projects in your company, like make sure you write them down rigorously in an Excel spreadsheet, and try and attach a dollar amount to how much you think it's given the company. Make sure you're always delivering value for your company because that's what they hired you for. So.
Also, the dream jobs don't actually exist, so you know.
Unless you're a
Out there.
YouTuber.
Yeah. Then every day's a dream, bro.
No, but like, but like seriously, like, and this is kind of misleading, right? Like, I kind of feel like there's this narrative that like your dream job is just waiting for you out there, for you just go find it and to grab it by the horns. And that's kind of like the whole thing, like, oh, you know, like dream partners or a dream husband, wife, or whatever, right? Yeah. And the reality is that sometimes you get through this thing called like the honeymoon period, and then you have to deal with the realities of, oh, you're living with this person. You have to like figure out like laundry and dishes and all that other stuff. It's the same thing with like a data scientist job, right? Like they interview and they say like, oh, from day one, you're gonna have this amazing impact. You're gonna get to know our data. You're going to talk to our key stakeholders. Month 2, you're going to, you know, have a plan of action for your next model. It's going to be deployed, yada. And that's just kind of not at all what happens. And so I think if you set yourself up or think that like, a dream job is going to change your life situation or your happiness, you're going to be set up very, very badly to actually succeed in a data scientist job or a job in data, period, right? Because the reality is like, it is hard work, but it can be very rewarding work. Like sometimes I think this idea of a dream or a dream job is something that like doesn't challenge you, and that's absolutely not what a lot of like valuable jobs do. A lot of valuable jobs, you are challenged and you will grow as a result. You'll become more skilled and you will do cool things, but it's not always going to be this like happy-go-lucky kind of scenario. And especially with like data scientist jobs, yes, they pay money, but they don't pay anywhere near as well as technical sales does, or as like a sales engineer, or as a consultant running your own company. Like there is a cap for data scientist jobs where you go. So, that's just to caveat out there. I don't regret working as a data scientist for the short period of time that I did, or doing any of the other data jobs before I became like an MLOps engineer, because it was valuable to understand that part of the business. But at the same time, I think like, just getting a data scientist job, it will not solve your problems. It will not magically make your life better. But it's a good step towards the things that you do want to accomplish. Maybe it could be eventually becoming like a more senior data scientist, or maybe it's going into your own business, or becoming a content creator. So it's valuable, but I don't think there's any job that will truly like be the dream job,
Reach.
Yeah.
Oh, MacGuffins don't exist. Just general good life advice.
I am not Tina!
Gogor asked if there was any videos we've ever made but didn't publish because they were too cringe.
Yes. At least 4.
Wow.
I've published
Post
a
them.
couple, and then like one of my first projects ever I did for class, and it was up, and then I removed it because I realized how crappy it was, and then I lost it. So I like have alluded to it, and I just haven't put it back up because I can't find it. Because it'd be fun to roast my old work, right? And just be like, wow, this is really, really bad.
Good content.
Yeah. Or have someone else roast it. I actually like being roasted. It makes me feel like I'm growing.
I think you might do well on Nick Wann's channel.
I asked them to roast me. They were
sit
too
in his audience
intimidated.
a little, and you get roasted. I enjoyed that yesterday.
You just play Ken's videos like live and like start roasting the videos. Like, what is this?
Have you done that?
I didn't roast anything.
Yeah. I mean, you're welcome to. It's fair game.
I don't think I've got Nick energy.
You need to start a beef. That's how content creators blow up.
I think you go to beef with Alex, right?
I wish. Alex is way too nice.
We are live, by the way, for the person who asked. I think YouTube says that.
We're in real life.
We
IRL.
We are IRL.
Wow.
We've actually photoshopped all of us.
This is a deep fake.
This is the metaverse. Mark Zuckerberg is here with us.
There's a little
Ken
bit
pulls
of
off his
somewhere.
face.
Is the industry oversaturated with entry-level land? I don't know if it was. So I've been saying something for like a year now, and I don't know if I got it from Ken. So there's a lot of Ken videos I watched before I like started making my own content. So I can't like. I don't know how much of my content is just me repeating what Ken has said, honestly. But
More eloquently, though.
yeah, I mean, time later, right?
That worked hard.
But like, maybe it was Ken, but someone was saying basically that like the industry's kind of like this right now, right? And basically, where like lower skills, so bottom is lower. I'm making a pyramid. Bottom is lower skills, less pay. Top is higher skills, higher pay with fewer people, obviously, right? But then as time goes on and everyone finds out about it, like it starts expanding like this, to where the top still exists and those people still make a lot of money, but the bottom is basically being saturated with companies giving jobs to people who may not necessarily be qualified for that. I really have a feeling I got that from you.
It wasn't me.
Okay, it was someone else then.
But
He would have made a papaya analogy.
yeah, come on.
Well, I'm fire shaking.
My thought is that like the very entry level is saturated, but if you're slightly better than the average candidate, like the mid level of data science roles, there is so much opportunity.
Yes.
Once you land your first job, you can land another job and another job and another job and keep going up in pay. I mean, it's just like once you've broken in, you're there. To break in is difficult, but by no means impossible.
And not oversaturated.
Yeah, I was gonna say like, was it like with Facebook recently doing like kind of a hiring freeze? They referenced like they're like looking for like mid and senior level, and I think it's always been a thing. Like they're saying that out publicly, but I feel like it's always kind of been a thing where like they prefer hiring people with like 3 to 4 years of experience, like out of the gate. And since I imagine a lot of the FANGs hire a big portion of those roles, that's why it feels like there's not a lot of roles at the bottom. Because there aren't. They're all, people want people that already have a certain base level. It's always the hard thing. It's like, well, how do I get that base level? It's like,
But I wouldn't say that like, do you feel like the industry is more oversaturated with entry level than it was before? Like, I don't know if it is necessarily, or if it's always been oversaturated.
Yeah, I mean, I think for that we need numbers.
Yeah.
I think a very common route, like for a lot of positions, whether it's data engineer, data scientist, it's not, I don't think like starting as like a data analyst is very common, right? Like it's like, okay, let's start as a data analyst, get familiar with data anyways, get good at SQL, get good at these other things, and then maybe start applying it in a year or two, maybe, or moving laterally into a junior data scientist position or into a data scientist position and going from there. So there are other routes too.
I would also say, and I talked a little bit about this with Ken on his podcast, which I don't think is out yet.
Which comes out Wednesday.
Comes out Wednesday. Get hyped.
Shout out.
Subscribe.
I think there's some interesting opportunities for anyone who's interested in data to apply it to whatever their current role is. If you have a role that you're involved in kind of business,
On the computer, I can.
there's often or pretty much always more data problems to be solved than there are kind of available people working on it. So raising your hand saying, I have these skills that I've been learning in whatever variety of ways, whether it's a master's degree or whether it's watching stuff on YouTube or Coursera or any of those tutorials, and just start raising your hand in that business setting and saying, if that's a project that I can do kind of outside of my normal responsibilities, I want to try it, right? So I think there's that opportunity of get a little experience even if you don't have the data scientist or data analyst title, with just getting your hands dirty, and people will start to get to know that you have that skill set, and you can kind of either create your own role or go up within whatever company you're in, or as you interview externally, you have those projects that you work on.
Yeah, and to that point, like I think people overemphasize the whole like you need to go do an external project like outside of your existing job. Like even if you do like blue collar work of some kind, like you don't have to make it official that you're doing like a project within the company. So for example, when I was attending the Springboard boot camp for data science, like I was doing we had 2 like milestone projects or whatever, right? And like one of them I did internally within the company with company data. I got permission for it, but my manager wasn't saying, yeah, you go girl, you do this project. She was not saying that. She was just like, make sure you're still working 9 to 5, right? And I had to get some permissions from like the engineering team or whatever to get access to the database, but like it was still a self-driven project. Their only ask was like any insights well, number one, don't publish the data, right? Like don't publish anything that's like client names, and also make sure you present the insight like internally to the company. But hackathons are another great way to like get that experience, right? Like I hate to say it, but there is no such thing as a person having no experience getting a job in data science. Like you get experience.
You create it yourself.
But you create that experience. Yeah. There's plenty of people who have had no formal experience in another company getting a job in data science. Absolutely. But a lot of those people, what they did was they took initiative to create their own projects. They did hackathons. They found opportunities within their company just to like apply analytical skills or like machine learning or modeling or whatever, and that then becomes something that you can point to when you're talking to recruiters. Because a lot of times, like I hate to say it, but they will say, like I would get questions on like, where did you do your project? Like was it a personal project or did you do it at work? And it does have a little bit more cachet if you can say like I did this project in a work setting, and you can explain the business problem that motivated it, but like you don't have to make it an official thing to go and do the work.
Awesome. Some people are asking where we are. We're in Austin, technically.
Oh, okay, yeah, I didn't know if you want to publish
Yeah, it's okay.
that.
As long as they don't know our exact address, I think we'll be
Although
Okay.
they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out by the
We're at
lighting.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, no one docks us, please.
Please don't.
I saw something very interesting here. Do you have to? Is the hype of working at a FAANG company worth it?
Either Ben.
I guess
Okay.
it's just Ben.
Well, where's Tina?
Yeah. She's still
Where
hiding
is
from the
Tina?
question.
In the other room, obviously.
I mean, I think I think it like always is going to depend on what you want. One of the things that I pointed out, for example, when I've looked through like job descriptions of like Facebook, is they'll call up the fact that like, oh, you should know distributed systems and like distributed computing, and then like you go into the role and you figure out, well, it's all abstracted away, right? So I think honestly, if you want to build like a lot of foundational skills, like your goal is to like, I want to like understand systems, I want to design things myself, I want to build things. Working in a lot of these tech companies, it's going to be a lot harder. It's not to say that they don't exist, but a lot of those problems have been solved. There's still other problems to solve, but most of those have been solved. And so you're focusing often more on the business value and not directly on the pure engineering. There's like some coding that you're doing, but it's probably a lot less than you were expecting. So if you're looking to do more of that and you're really trying to build a foundation there, look for a different role. I think if you're like in a mid-level or senior position, I think it makes a lot of sense because you should be trying to shift into, okay, I know my craft, I know how I'm doing, the engineering part, but now how do I drive value in a business? Which can get abstracted away on the flip side if you're only focused on engineering all the time, then you don't think about, well, how do I drive value with this engineering? I'm just trying to build the solution. You don't even really know where it goes. You're really busy, thinking about how to fix things. So I think there's value in it. Is the hype worth it? Again, if you're looking to get paid a lot, sure. If you're looking to learn a ton and like be involved in a lot of different layers of the business, probably not as much. So,
It also like I haven't worked at a FAANG company, but admiring other people, I feel like it adds more like cachet to your name sometimes.
Sure,
Like for instance, like you could have worked at Facebook and I worked for a no-name company. We could be the exact same skills wise, but it always like sounds a little bit cooler to have the brand name company on the resume.
Yeah, I think that's true, but I don't know. I think everyone's at different stages, so I think I think it's worth to work there for a little bit, but I think you should also understand there's plenty of other companies that you'll learn a ton more. Like if you were to have worked at like Uber mid-level, like when it was just starting, to kind of take off, or like Robinhood, minus controversy, but probably really interesting problems, right? Like you're probably dealing with super interesting problems. You're gonna like probably develop things yourself, and so that could be far more interesting than maybe just like trying to build off of what someone else has already built and matured. So that's my perspective.
I think there's also the idea of the golden handcuffs kind of, right? Where once you start working there, you start making X amount of money, your shares vest at a certain point in time, and it's like, well, if I leave, I'm leaving so much on the table. Even if I don't really like it, you're still there for a long period of time. And yes, maybe the payout's really good, but to be perfectly honest, there are plenty of other ways to make money out there. And I mean, maybe I'm like super biased because I like really value entrepreneurship and doing other things and having the flexibility to do those things. So, it is a great thing to make a lot of money, but it isn't everything if you necessarily value your time and your learning and some of the other experiences you can have.
Can I source a question?
Yeah, for sure.
Do you guys play video games? That was from Gogor.
Civ 4.
Ooh.
Great.
Sims?
Civilization.
Civ
It's at
4.
Civ 6 now, right?
Yeah,
Civ
yeah.
5 is my favorite.
Civ 5 is great. When they switched from the square tiles to the hexagonal ones, it makes more sense. But I like the square tiles a lot more.
Wow.
So.
So specific.
Do you play too?
I used to play a lot of Civ 5, and then I started playing Civ 6, and it was too confusing for me.
It's really
I
confusing.
know you're a Mario Kart guy.
Oh, wait, which one's your favorite?
What do you think?
Well, for me it's Double
What do
Dash.
you think? Yeah.
What?
For me it's Double Dash.
Double Dash.
Double
Yeah.
Dash.
Double Dash is a good one.
GameCube.
Double Dash.
GameCube.
My
youths.
like,
Yeah.
this is you.
You're so
That
young. Nintendo 64, the original.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
actually, Super Nintendo, the original, but so.
The Nintendo 64 was all donut, the lava donut or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
Freaking dope.
Oh yeah.
What about you guys? Video games?
Yeah, I play. Probably the game that I play the most, which I don't play that much, is a 20-year-old game called Age of Empires.
Oh,
Yo!
Yeah.
Age of Empires 3!
Like there's a modern, like rebuilt versions of it that have good graphics, and there's like a pretty thriving community. So yeah, it's pretty fun. If you played it growing up, I think probably most of the people like around our age played it at some point growing up in the early 2000s. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I actually like Spy Fox and Dry Cereal.
Spy Fox is good.
It's kind of an old school game. Don't worry about it.
I really like it.
You would, yeah.
I'm all about that Guild Wars 2. It's better than WoW, and that's the hill I will die on.
Get out of here. Don't you like WoW too, though?
No.
You bought
Wait,
a World of
why do you have a
Warcraft
WoW
microphone.
mic?
Huh?
You have a WoW mic, don't
Because
you?
it's pretty.
I thought you were like
It
obsessed
looks
with WoW.
really good as I'm playing Guild Wars 2.
Wow, okay.
Hashtag flex.
Yeah.
Nintendo 64 is the original place where you could play Mario Kart, correct? I don't think that there
No,
was
it's
an earlier-
SNES.
Yeah,
Super Nintendo
Super
had
Nintendo.
Mario
Yeah.
Kart also? I didn't know that.
Yeah, just like
They used Mario Kart to brag about their fake 3D graphics, basically.
Mm.
The Genesis should have won, but you know it's okay.
I was a huge fan
yeah.
of Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Dude, freaking Sonic was freaking dope, man.
I was
Yeah,
to say
it was.
Sonic.
Sonic
I
Heroes.
used to love that game.
I
Yeah.
actually was a big fan of the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
The dream, freaking Sony comes in, kills the Dreamcast. You know, sometimes competition kills those that you love. I miss the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Great system. By the way, if anyone's interested, go look up Xbox documentary. There's a great documentary that Microsoft put out about how the Xbox was created. Super interesting. Lots of like treachery and stealing by engineers. So you know, it's fun.
I always love your fun facts.
Dude, I watch way too much YouTube.
Also,
Don't
someone was
we-
like,
Oh, actually,
do you guys know Sunda?
Sundus, yeah.
Yeah.
Sundus is awesome.
I met her
We know.
yesterday.
She was invited.
But
she
she's
couldn't
too cool
make it
for
this
us.
time.
Wait, there was actually a really important question that I wanted to. So Gia Ling asked something about women in data science.
Ooh, how do we get more people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
our
thoughts on how to
ratio
get
is
more
swear
women into
About
data roles?
representative, right?
This looks
Like
like the
18.
industry.
Isn't data science a bit better than software engineering, or am I wrong?
It is.
I
Okay.
feel like it is.
It's about, from the last numbers I saw in Kaggle, it was like 80% male, 20% female.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I guess it would probably make the most sense to start with making any like ideas on how to get more women into data science, or we can give
That's
you
a
time to think about it and come back.
No, I think there's honestly there's a lot more research out there that does a way better job of explaining like what the exact gap is and why. But I think something that let me approach it from the thing that's helped me as a woman in data science, like how do I stay in the field and how do I still stay engaged with it? So a huge part of it is finding cool people of any gender, like creed, race, religion, all that, right? So I think one thing that you need to do, regardless of whether or not you're male or female, is you need to build community. Because I was talking with Harpreet and Mark about this, where they're like, okay, how do you help with loneliness, right? Especially if you're like a professional in data and all that. And a huge part of it is like the community. So whether it's YouTube, Discord, or LinkedIn, I think when you put positive aspects of yourself out there, and also when you're really like open and honest about what you're looking for, I think a lot of times you'll get that in kind. So if you are a person that's genuinely curious, interested, motivated, hardworking, and you contribute into the community, it will receive back to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way I can explain why I'm even here, like even though I have like a much smaller audience than everyone here in this room, right? But they're all very cool, and they help me enjoy staying in the field, because sometimes, like especially if you're the one or two or third woman in a company of like 50 or 60 male engineers, it can be very scary. And this is true if you're LGBTQ or if you're a person of color, like it can be a very scary experience. So the first thing you want to do is find community, and you can do that through LinkedIn. You can also do that through specialty groups. So I really love Lesbians Who Tech and Tech Ladies. So those are the two groups that I hang out with a lot. As well as the ML Ops community is really, really super cool. The gender ratio there is still not great, frankly, because like the women ML Ops Slack channel is like 50, and the actual community itself is thousands of people. But I think when you do that, it definitely helps a lot. But we definitely need more women. One thing I do want to point out there is that until we hired our new engineer, my ML Ops team of like 4 or 5 people was all women, right? And then we hired one male engineer. So now we're mostly women and 1 male engineer. So like you can find those opportunities, but I do say it's about community building. So
That's cool.
Very nice.
Our at Nordstrom, so that's the company I work at, we have these things called ERGs, kind of going off of what she said about community building, employee resource groups. And so basically there's one for every minority group out there. So there's like an Asian one, there's like a black one, there's a Hispanic one, and there's a woman one, spelled with an X. And is it just pronounced women if it has the X in it?
I think
Okay.
Just to make sure it's not a derivative of men. Yeah.
But yeah, so there's a women one too, and what these groups do, right, is because one of the problems, right, there's so many problems with representation in certain fields, but one of the problems is oftentimes people in these, and women, I call them a minority group in tech, right, but people in these minority groups aren't made aware of opportunities that do exist to advance within the company. So what these ERG groups they have a couple of mods who are regularly passed job recs from recruiters first, basically. It goes to the whole company, but they also get like an email about the job rec, and they'll post in that Slack channel. The idea is that this is one way to help make sure people are like aware of the opportunities that are available to them. And another thing that we do that I think is really cool is have a report on who gets promoted, like based on like different cuts of minorityness, I guess. So like you have the racial minorities, and then you have like gender, and it's a good way to put in front of everyone at the quarterly team meetings how good is the company doing at promoting people at a relatively equal pace. Now, when you have a very small number, a net number of people, you can start to see that the proportions can, even the one promotion can drastically mess up your percentages. So, but I think that's kind of your first step in a lot of companies, and these are things that the ERG is something anyone can do. Obviously talk to HR and everything, but even if you're like an entry-level employee at a company, I don't see why you couldn't start an ERG. So that's some advice for people on the stream who I think at the level of the career they're on, that's probably like a specific thing you could also do.
Awesome. Well, let's take maybe one more question.
Is it?
We can keep going if you want.
We have 3 more hours if we're gonna have the
Yeah, Nick was doing 4 hours like every time.
I don't have the stamina.
He was like yelling at the channel.
last one. I haven't even yelled at him.
Yeah, haven't cursed out the audience yet.
Yeah, Ibrahim wants to know what's for dinner. What are we eating for
Yeah,
dinner?
what
It's
are
a
we?
great question.
Korean
We have
barbecue.
eggs.
We have eggs, we have
There's
chicken.
a lot of eggs.
Should we go out?
Which I can't eat.
Oh, we should go out.
I can't eat eggs, but I could eat anything
We have
else.
chicken, I think a little bit, right?
I'm gonna go out to eat.
I'm down to go out
Yeah.
to eat.
Yeah, so
We all just up
What
and
is
leave
today?
in the street.
Saturday.
Just let it raid.
Hey, 6th Street might have some
Yeah.
food trucks or something.
If anyone has
Yes.
some food recommendations for Austin in the chat, we ate barbecue a lot yesterday, so that's not barbecue.
yeah,
Let us know.
yeah.
There's a good restaurant on 6th Street I like.
Oh,
Oh, who is Shashank? I'm Shashank.
What? How do they not know you?
I don't know.
now they know.
How did they not know?
Now
Check out his
you
YouTube
know.
channel.
We should have created a small CNN that would just have our names tagged above our heads whenever we move.
With our, yeah.
You know,
It's actually pretty.
Yeah.
that would have been pretty dope.
You won't do it.
That's for next
You won't
time.
do it.
Yeah.
That'd be, it's like, that would be pretty
Is
dope.
this,
No,
is this
I'll
negging? I don't know. It's like an alternative form of negging.
Yeah.
Huh.
What are our hobbies outside of data?
That's great.
We're people, not just data machines.
Yeah.
I love hiking.
Hiking?
Hiking.
Ooh.
On the mountains.
On the mountains? Oh, me? I like CrossFit, and I more enjoy mountain biking.
Biking.
Mm-hmm.
Can you flex for him, or is
That's
that's from your own life stream?
If he has that, then there's gonna be like, oh, you guys should do the. Either of you watch Full Metal Alchemist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's like the handshake between the two straws.
What do you guys like?
So I like making and designing streetwear, so I love customizing sneakers. I'm also big into CrossFit. I'm looking forward now to actually getting back into it. Now I'm fully recovered from surgery, which basically kept me off any weights for basically 8 months, which I also ate a lot during that time.
We're
So
glad you're-
it'll be fun. It'll be fun.
We're glad you're healthy again.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm healthy again too. So.
Oh, Kalbi. Oh no, Samgupseal. Oh hell
And
yeah.
then I guess I've done quite a bit of outdoor activities. I did a big backpacking trip last year for like 8 days. Carry the tent, all the food, all that on your back. It was a great break from
Where?
up in over by Taos in New Mexico. So yeah, lot of fun. It was a really good break of not looking at screens at all after about a year and a half or 2 years of COVID, and then play some video games and yeah, hang out with friends, all that.
Yeah, I mean, besides like general, like hiking, working out.
You like anime, obviously, after the 4 references.
Honeymoon.
I mean, I don't generally watch that much anymore. I think Attack on Titan's the one, only because it took 10 years to they still haven't finished it. There's that. I picked up recently talking to startups and like talking a lot about like go-to-market strategy and positioning and things like that. So it's like not necessarily data related, but often like data startup companies. So that's also been kind of like a
So
fun
his
thing.
other hobby is making money.
Wow.
Grind never stops. Yeah,
Kansas City
so
papayas,
the question was, who makes the most money over here? I mean, I think it's kind of obvious
Let's not
now.
even get into that.
I think it's
Let's
kind of
not
obvious
get into
now.
that. No need to bring bad juju's. I don't feel bad about my food purchases.
I like to trail run a lot. I like to play basketball a lot. Play basketball like 3 times a week.
This guy ran to like the state capitol from here in like the
Yeah.
blistering Texas heat.
Yeah.
I ran.
And survived.
And
Yeah.
survived.
And
Oh,
made
and
it
back. He ran back. He didn't Uber
Well,
back.
actually, I took an e-bike.
Never mind.
It was longer. I went like the scenic way, and I still had to pedal.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't
Yeah.
like
You
it
didn't take a
wasn't-
scooter. You didn't take a scooter.
I didn't take a scooter,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it was still exercise. So.
Our respect for you only mildly dropped.
Yeah.
Crap. Okay, I took an e-bike, but I like walked it. I was just. And I like spending time with my wife and my dog. That's probably my next
Pairing the disappointment.
In my free time, I also like spending time with Avery's wife and his dog.
thing. Yeah. You might do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I am big into jujitsu right now. That's been a lot of fun and a way for me to burn some calories, because the other thing that I love is food. So,
Ken is a phenomenal cook.
Yes.
Breakfast
Yes.
sandwiches today.
yeah.
Oh.
Breakfast, Sammy's. Yeah. What's your favorite meal?
Like my favorite food or my favorite meal?
Oh my gosh.
Both.
My favorite meal is probably lunch, because that's the first one I eat each day.
Oh, okay.
Food,
I like to call
like-
it breakfast.
What?
I call it breakfast.
I guess you're breaking
Do you-
fast.
You're breaking
but-
fast.
Do you intermittent fast
Yeah.
every day?
Not on the weekends.
Okay. But like, what time you stop eating?
Usually like at home when it like normal, I usually stop eating around like 6:30, and then I start it, and then I eat at noon.
That's cool. Respect.
I actually got kind of roasted once for a tweet I made, because I do a fast every year, like a couple day one, and I was talking about it, and people were like, "That's not healthy. You're not giving proper precautions to everyone. You're not a doctor. You can't give medical advice." And I was like, "I'm not telling
Were
people
you
to
giving
do it."
medical advice?
I was like, "This is what
I
I do."
am not.
That's a
I
stupid
just said what
comment.
I'm doing.
Well, I felt bad. Like, I don't want someone to get ill because they're
Because they can't make their own decisions?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was more of a PR play for me to not keep that up, but still.
Yeah.
I hope to one day become just less popular than the popularity that comes for you have to be responsible for what you say. That's the goal. Just peek out over there, you know. And I'm like, okay, I can still say whatever I want.
Apparently there was a question. So does everyone intend to get rich from this and retire early?
Hell no.
I'm never gonna retire.
Never. I will work until the day I die.
This is the problem with hustlers.
Yeah. Working is fun. Yeah, people like, like, what's your hobby? To an extent, it's working.
See,
but, you know.
look at this chaotic mind here. This is the prime example.
Capitalism.
Capitalism.
Well, I think in a communist society, I would just move my way up the Communist Party. So, hierarchy, so I'll put it that way.
And then take advantage of society from there.
Exactly. So, I was going to say, I won't say the joke over here. It's not going to, yeah. It's a bit off color.
We can say it after the
It's a bit off color,
Okay,
yeah.
Write that down for later. Write that down.
Write that down.
I mean, for me, like, I would, especially after I found out that Carlos Ghosn, the guy who was the CEO of Nissan, was, like, not a Japanese dude. I was like, well, because well, no, so, like, for me, I'm a huge car guy, right? But, like, and the Japanese auto manufacturers are, like, here for me because of, like, the quality of cars that are made, and, like, I can give a whole speech on this, but I was like, oh, I'm not Japanese, so I will never become an executive at a Japanese auto manufacturing company. And then I found out that like half of Nissan's or not half, but a large number of Nissan's executives were like non-Japanese people. So for me, the grind is to get somewhere there one day.
Isn't
Possibly.
he in prison now? Didn't he completely implode the company?
Ignore that.
Wait, so he almost, there's a lot of hearsay
I'm
in
sorry,
that.
he's not in prison. He's on
He
the
fled.
run from the Japanese government.
He went to Lebanon.
That story of him escaping was pretty.
It was pretty badass, yeah. That's what Luke does in the two ex-Navy SEAls help him escape. So that's your side business if you ever decide to quit YouTube.
Extracting
We'll
CEOs
smuggle you out.
Yeah. Whenever you get too big.
Yeah, when I get too big for the Japanese companies, these guys will smuggle me out of the country safely.
I'll save you.
Thanks, man. But no, I mean even their general counsel was an Indian dude, So they had a couple people up there. Now Toyota, if you look at their board of directors page, it's literally
What was the question?
what would you do, or would you ever retire?
Oh, okay.
Like, do you want to do this, get rich,
Luke just wants to jump his back.
and then retire?
I just want to ride my mountain bike all day and just jumps. That's all I want to do.
That's good. Jumps.
And then when I can't do that, just make some videos.
So not retire, basically.
No.
Yeah.
Never retired.
Yeah.
Wait, so who here would retire? I guess is the question. All right.
Well,
Yeah,
I'd take it.
define retire.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
if retire's like
Less than 40
you
hours
have-
work a week.
you have.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Maybe.
Well,
yeah.
I feel like retire is if you have to work for your money.
What?
So let me phrase it.
Presumably
Okay,
you're rich.
if you have to work for the money you need to survive.
They said, assuming you're rich, off this stuff.
Oh.
Assuming you're rich, yeah. I mean, I'd probably do it for very, maybe let's say 10 hours a week. I can't even put a number on it, but it would just be enough to stimulate my mind and still feel like I love teaching and I love educating, and I want to feel like I just want to keep doing it regardless. This is something I would actually just do for free, even if I wasn't earning money on YouTube in general. But I kind of need to earn money, at least right now, because I'm not that rich as everyone likes to claim, or definitely not as rich as him because he's just small.
Not as rich as Zach Wilson.
I am not as rich as Zach Wilson, that's for sure.
Yes, but in general, yeah, I would probably still continue educating if I could, because that's just the way I'd like to live my life too. But obviously, there is a limit to how much you should be doing. There are other things in our lives where we are people, and this is just one facet of it. We are people, I swear. We people are yes, us.
Wait, are we not working machines designed to put out output for every input given to us?
You are the product of capitalist society and everything everything that is wrong with capitalism. No, we're not going to start the discussion, but I would like to always, egg on poke a snake with the stick. Poke a stick.
Poke a bear.
Poke a bear with a stick.
Polka dot.
Poke a who?
Pokemon?
Pocahontas.
Why are we going there?
What? You said poke.
God, Pokemon.
This is word association with data science.
So this one's interesting. What inspired?
You're interesting.
Actually, I like this better. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? I know this is this is the most average podcast question ever.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. I've never asked it because my podcast is.
Oh, wow.
Plug podcast. Hence nearest neighbor.
Okay. Wait.
Where did you pictures in the future?
Friends nearest neighbor.
I would say
Watch, listen,
spend your time doing things you love or being with people that you love.
Great advice.
Damn.
Wow.
Because time,
It's
you don't want to
crazy you're
waste
doing
it.
both right now.
Huh? Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? 2 birds, 1 stone. Love it. I love you, Luke. I'm taking your man away. Oh my god, I don't want to do that though. Gosh, I'm blushing.
I don't know if it's advice, but I just love the idea that you're going to die someday.
Yeah.
Not that I love the idea of the dying part, but just it doesn't matter. Live your life the way you want to, because literally, no matter what happens, you're gonna die, and so the outcome's all the same. So I think do whatever you want. That really helped me quit my job. When I was working, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like what I'm doing. I want to do something else, and I was super scared to quit my job and become an entrepreneur. But then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna die one day, and I rather regret stuff I tried than regret stuff I didn't try, because regret sucks. So
One day you will leave this world behind, so live a life you will remember.
As the great
as the
Nietzsche
great
once said.
Yes.
That Rick and Morty sketch where they play the video game of someone else's life really just messed with my head.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm like,
Oh,
dang
it's
it.
like Life of Brian.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically The Matrix, but because it's so funny, I'm like, oh, wait. Oh. But yeah, that messes with my head for sure.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Clearly nobody has any wise words, any
I'm not a very good
wisdoms.
listener, so.
I mean, like, there's plenty of advice, but like, there's the whole, what is it, Gary Tan's, like, you know, if you're not, always make sure you're either learning or earning or both. If
Yeah.
not, leave. That's the one I like.
Learn, earn, or quit.
Yeah,
Learn
but I also
or
like
quit.
the always be willing to walk away, like in terms of like negotiating and most problems or most things in life. It's like, you know, the job, you know, I don't know, just don't hold on to anything too tightly. Is I guess what I like from that. It's like, you know.
I think for me, some great advice I've heard is if you do what everyone else has done, you'll go where everyone else has gone. And there's a very, very fine line between
This guy next.
huh?
Sorry, that was a comment.
But there's like a really fine line between not just doing what everyone else does and reaching this like peak of arrogance where you think you know better than literally everyone, and being able to like dance on that line, I think is it's a lifestyle I'm trying to build right now. There's a lot of conventional advice that I think doesn't work out. There's a lot that does, because then you know, not to get too far into it, but you'll see a lot of people, especially in crypto spaces, ignore very basic financial advice, even though it's like tried, true, and tested, you know? So I think that don't do what everyone else has done, or you'll end up where everyone else has gone, but also like, conventional wisdom exists for a reason. So learning how to like dance that line, I think, is an important life skill.
Yeah.
Similar in that vein, I forget where I read it, but I'd say it to myself quite frequently, is like you should do things that others won't, so you can like access things that others can't, right? Like the idea that putting time and effort in now pays off later, I think is really compelling. I mean, a lot of the time it's like, oh, I don't want to do this right now, it's a pain in the butt. But I think about, wow, if I do this now, it compounds on itself. Like everything scales up over time. Like time is the ultimate multiplier, which is really cool.
Yep.
And another one, like sort of similar, but I don't remember. I think I read this somewhere. It's a military thing, where it's you should do you do everything how you do anything, right? And the idea that like if you put intention behind all the things in your life, you'll probably be successful. Whereas if you don't put, if you like half-ass a lot of parts of your life, that's gonna rub off on all the other parts of your life, right? So if you're exercising or something, you should be doing it full bore. If you're like, there aren't areas of your life where you should be lacking, because like, what's the point of that, right? If you're wasting time attacking anything or like committing to any part of your life, it's just gonna cause you more pain in the butt down the road rather than now.
Well, and this is kind of an affliction of like modern society too. Netflix themselves say that we want shows that people can watch in the background while they're on TikTok or whatever they're on, right? Which is exactly what you're telling people not to do. Like, do something. If you're doing something, do that thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so guilty of doing it, but I try not to.
Right.
Try to remember that.
I got one that might be controversial. It's watch what they do, not what they say. And this was actually really great, because back when I was first starting into like bodybuilding, like I basically worked out at this gym that was a lot of gay exotic dancers or gay personal trainers, but it's a lot of the guys that you sort of typically see associated with bodybuilding, like they're big and bulky and all that. And like you see them carrying these like 100-pound dumbbells and their bicep curl, and I'm like there looking up, almost half their height, a quarter of their size, and I'm like, oh man, like how do I not necessarily look like that, but how do I achieve version 2 of myself? And one of the guys, that was there, that took me under his wing and mentored me, he was basically said like, look, it's all a magic show. Like what you see in the gym, like that's the icing. That's not the real work that's going on. And also too, like watch what they do, watch what they do, not what they say. Is the reality is that like if you think of time as the ultimate currency, like where people put their time is where you will see results, unless they're doing it really badly. And this is why it's good to talk to experts sometimes and get expert feedback and advice. So that's the that's one that I always like.
I like that.
That's good.
I think a couple comments are saying Ken looks starved.
They're worried about you.
Can we call it?
Yeah, let's call it. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone here, for joining this. Again, if you want to learn more about any of these people,
Okay, so nothing.
what a way! End with a bang. If you want to see the behind the scenes of Shashank being wet all over, be sure to sign up to his OnlyFans. No, but everyone is linked in the description. Also, everyone has been on the Ken's Entertainers podcast if you want to learn more about each of their individual stories. So until next time, remember you can comment below with any questions we missed, and we will get to them.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.